It's KFI AM 640, and you're listening to The Conway Show on demand on the iHeartRadio app.
Wow, what a break for you, huh? You're listening to this. We have got a lot of rain coming in. I can't stress that enough. We've got to get that word out there. 3 inches of rain on a normal year is a lot in one day. Now that you have the burn scars in Altadena, the Eaton Fire, Malibu, and Pacific Palisades, that potentially could be a huge nightmare. If any of those hills started sliding, not a mudslide, but a hill slide, that could wipe out PCH. And I think that's the reason they're going to be closing PCH on and off for the next couple of years. If they detect that mountain is sliding, that PCH may be closed for months. And the people that live in Malibu and work in West LA, they've got to go around, they got to go through the valley. They got to go to either Canaan or whatever the other ones, Canaan and Malibu Road or Las Virgenes to the 101, then take the 101 to the 405, 405 South to the 10, and you get to the office 3 hours later. What normally would have been a 15 or 20-minute ride is now 3 hours. And then on the way home, it's 3.5 or 4 hours. And people are going to be tired of that, and they're either going to have to get a new job or move because they're not going to put up with that. They can't do that. They didn't sign up for that. So lots of rain coming in, and it could affect the hillsides here in Southern California.
When we look at the live Megadoppler, rain is starting to show up already offshore and around San Francisco. This is part of that warm front that I told you about. Here in Southern California, though, there's nothing going on, but we are anticipating a flash flood watch has been issued from Thursday 1 p.m. until Friday at 4 a.m., and that's most.
Did you hear that? Don't half-ass this. You can listen to this radio half-ass sometimes. Can't do it here. You got to listen to this.
A flash flood watch has been issued.
A flash flood watch has been issued for Southern California.
From Thursday 1 p.m. until Friday at 4 a.m., and that's most of Southern California. We'll show you some of those rainfall totals coming up in just a minute. During the day tomorrow, we're going to have a 60% chance of rain, increasing to afternoon and evening, 100%. This first storm system is not heavy, but the one that will come in on Thursday night is quite heavy, and it will have quite a bit of rain, anywhere from 3 to 5 inches.
Did you hear that?
3 to 5 inches.
3 to 5 inches of rain on Thursday.
3 to 5 inches across a broad area of Southern California. At this hour, it's 59 in Long Beach. Beautiful day there. Gusty winds are blowing up sand east of Palm Springs. That is why you see that red tonight. So lots of particulates there. So we look at it. The high pressure is moving out of the way. Winds are already gusting in now, coming from the southeast.
Okay. All right. We get it. So it's going to be very wet. Late Wednesday, Thursday, all day, and into Friday. All right, let's talk about strep throat, sore throat. A lot of people getting sick. A lot of people have sore throat. And let's see if we can find out what we can do about it, because it sucks.
We're back now with Dr. Darian with a question for the ER doctor right here. How can I tell the difference between a sore throat and strep?
A great question. It's not easy always to tell. You know, strep is increasing. We're seeing a rising rate, and it's kind of inching back toward pre-pandemic levels, especially among young kids. So number one, strep is caused by a bacteria called Streptococcus. How you can tell the difference? Often how the symptoms come on. Strep throat is usually a little bit more painful, and when you look at the back of your throat, you might often see changes. For example, a white film over the back of the throat, or even red spots over the roof of your mouth. If you notice those changes, you should get tested, because we want to prevent the complications, not just the infection.
But, like, is it contagious?
Strep throat technically is contagious. I would say.
I think that after the pandemic, everyone asks that about everything now. Is it contagious? Can I catch it?
But, like, is it contagious?
I know we're so selfish. We're like, oh, I know your mom has it, but could I get it? Is that possible?
But, like, is it contagious?
Strep throat technically is
That was my
contagious.
question.
I would say the risk of getting it from talking to someone is relatively very low. I would say close contacts are most likely at risk, but the most important question that parents ask is, when can my child go back to school? Which I understand. Usually about 24 hours after starting the antibiotic treatment, that child is safe to go back to school, so just about a day.
Those parents are trying to get those kids back in school.
And I understand why. That is usually their main question. Is how long do we keep them out of school and when do they go back?
So how do you treat it? I mean, is it with antibiotics or?
Most commonly antibiotics. If you want to understand exactly what the percentage breakdown is, for adults, about 15% of our sore throats are due to strep. The rest are due to other types of viruses. For kids, however, it's up to about 35%. So we're a little bit more mindful, a little bit more proactive, again, to not just treat the infection, but prevent the complications.
What about sore throat, though? Is that something that they really need to stay home for?
I don't think so. If the sore throat is manageable, if they're still tolerating liquids and foods, then you can send that child to school.
Oh, no, don't send that kid to school.
Tolerating liquids and foods, and you can send that child to school. But if
So they can get everybody else sick.
But if that sore throat is accompanied by other symptoms like a headache, a fever, those are signs that it might be systemic, might be contagious, and that's when you have to be more cautious.
Adults just get a hot totty.
Exactly.
That's right. The hot toddy. Guy was born in 1948. The hot toddy. All right. A lot of us saw the SpaceX last night. That was a cool deal. A little after 6 p.m. last night, SpaceX blasted a rocket out of Vandenberg, which I thought was a cool deal.
If you looked up at the right time, you likely saw it. A SpaceX rocket carrying a batch of Starlink satellites successfully launched from Vandenberg Space Force Base shortly after 6 o'clock. Air 7 capturing the rocket soaring into the sky.
It was cool.
According to SpaceX, it was the 23rd launch and landing for this particular booster.
A lot of people
Falcon
saw it.
9's first stage later returned to Earth about 8 minutes after liftoff, as planned, touching down in the Pacific Ocean. Viewers from all across our area sending us photos and videos. One of our ABC 7 show directors, Lita Gardner.
Oh, Lita Gardner. I know her.
There's Lita Gardner sending this video of the rocket over Disney California Adventure tonight.
Wow, what a night. That was a cool night to see that rocket blast off. Perfect timing, too, because when it leaves right after sundown, as it blasts off, it connects with the sun again. And then that reflection on the exhaust of that rocket makes it pretty spectacular, pretty cool to watch. And every time I see a rocket blast off like that, my only thought is somebody did more homework than I did. Somebody studied longer than I did, putting those rockets up in space. Dig dong with those rockets. All right, don't forget, huge rain. Crozier, are you prepared for the rain? I know you're working outside. You're got a fence. You're always busy.
I tried to get ahead of it today. I was out there before I came in to do a little bit of work on the fence, building it up again.
Will the rain wipe you out?
No. I can work underneath under my patio, assembling it all together before just attaching it to the wall.
Do you put a tarp down to keep it dry?
No, I'm good right now.
That's lovely.
Yeah, living hard, man.
I have one more leak in the garage. I got to fill tonight with some caulking. I think it should be good. I hope I'm good. I don't know.
You're listening to Tim Conway Jr. on demand from KFI AM 640.
All right. We got LAPD, some breaking news here. So, about 2 minutes ago. This is breaking news. Bellio put together breaking news. Let's find out what's breaking.
Looking at Bellport Avenue, which has been shut down most of the day due to a standoff that started this morning. Police chasing a suspect with a gun into a building. They have been trying to get him out of the building all day long. A short time ago, we learned that gunfire was exchanged, and police did shoot that suspect, who was taken to the hospital. A young man in his 20s in unknown condition, and an investigation now unfolding. Reporting live from Air 7, I'm Chris Christie, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Man, we got a wild city here. Wild West. Fake money is in the news. An OC man nabbed with fake hundies in his undies.
Albert Einstein once said imagination is more important than knowledge, but this was likely not what he meant. Police officers arrested a man after he showed a fake driver's license during a traffic stop. They then found funny money, a stolen license plate, and
I haven't heard that term in a while. I like that term.
Funny money.
Funny money. Yeah, it's sort of a softer term for guys got counterfeit money.
Funny money, a stolen license plate, and mail belonging to other people inside the car of Daner Chacon Lara.
What's going on with this guy? What's going on with this dude?
Car of Daner Chacon Lara. He is being held at Orange County Jail on multiple charges.
It's pretty funny. He did it in the wrong county. They're real tough in Orange County on stuff like that. All right. Counterfeit bills. You know, we had a new printer installed here about 10 years ago, and it was really state of the art. I mean, this is the finest printer I've ever seen in my life. It's huge. It's like the size of a motorhome. And the one thing it won't do is it won't print money. If you put a $20 bill on it and you hit print, it'll come out black. It'll just show a black square or rectangle where the money was. It won't print money, which is kind of weird, odd, right? Because I wanted to print money. But I think what people are doing, and look, I don't want to tell everybody how to do this, but I think what people are doing are taking dollars and $5 bills and $1 bills, and they're bleaching them. And then they're printing $100 on top of them. But the $100 bill has about 17 different safety marks on it that are very, very difficult to duplicate. And so it's pretty easy to pick up on the fake ones. But I have a friend who owns a restaurant in Burbank, and he said he gets 1 or 2 a month of counterfeit bills. So there's a lot of them out there. A lot of people out there counterfeiting money. Shame, shame, shame. Alaska Airlines is in the news. What's going on with Alaska Airlines? A viral video goes out about Alaska.
Disturbing moments on board this Alaska Airlines flight as a passenger appears to lose control. A flight attendant jumping in to subdue the man, at times punching him, trying to get the passenger to release the hair of 32-year-old Erica Ramos sitting in front of him.
I told him for hair, sir. I really wasn't sure what was happening in that moment.
I was. Guy was grabbing your hair.
I was afraid that this person was going to start punching me.
Yeah.
Erica escaping the seat and the flight attendant calling for backup.
God, flying used to be fun. Now it's just, you got to watch who's going to wipe you out on that flight.
Erica says the attack caused painful swelling, and she's still getting headaches 9 days later.
There was a moment where we actually see your face in that video turn around and look at him. What were you thinking, and did you say anything to him?
But I've seen people on planes get panic attacks. I can't imagine the stress that goes along with that. You're on an airplane, you're concealed in this big tube, and you get a panic attack around, 180 people. Man, I feel bad. Nah, not necessarily for this guy. He went a little too far, and he's pulling everybody's hair.
I did not say anything to him. I think I was just really in shock. From my understanding of things, he was having a psychotic episode.
Yep, psychotic episodes. A lot of people are flying with psychotic episodes.
And I didn't necessarily want to interact with him and possibly make things worse.
Yep. The plane, still on the ground, was scheduled to fly to Portland, Oregon from Oakland, California on February 1st. But after the chaotic ordeal, it was forced to return to its gate so authorities could intervene.
It's not every day that you see flight attendants throwing punches to try to subdue an unruly passenger. Was that the right move there?
Yes, exactly the right move. Exactly.
The flight attendant who had to respond to this took the immediate actions that you would take if you were able to take the crew member self-defense training. We're in a confined space. We cannot call for help. There's no other way to do this. And there was imminent danger here. And so the passengers have action against them in order to stop what they were doing in severely harming another passenger.
Alaska Airlines telling NBC News in part that the man appeared to be experiencing a violent medical episode that involved an ongoing physical assault against other passengers and our crew.
Kind of a fun guy to sit next to from Oakland to Portland. So how's it going? Oh. You want to fight everybody on the plane. Okay. All right. Well, this is what's going to go on, I guess.
Our crew responded to the chaotic situation quickly and kept all guests safe, adding that the man has been banned from future flights.
That's a wrap on that, dude. No more flights.
The airline has found itself at the center of increased public scrutiny recently after multiple high-profile safety incidents. It was an Alaska Airlines flight last January that had its door plug blow off the fuselage of a Boeing 737 MAX 9 midair. At the time, the airline saying incidents like this are rare and the passengers and crew landed safely. And in 2023, an off-duty Alaska Airlines pilot attempted to disengage the engines of a plane mid-flight.
He's a fun guy, right? Although that guy got off, he was supposed to go to prison forever for doing that. And I don't know, I guess he has a medical condition and they fired him, but I don't think he did any time.
That pilot later telling investigators he had recently taken magic mushrooms.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the guy shrooming up on Alaska. And I guess when you shroom, sometimes you have a bad reaction to it. But the pilots shouldn't be shrooming. Leave that up to the guys way in back and coach. Let them shroom or whatever pills they're on. Let them do that, but not the pilots.
That pilot later telling investigators he had recently taken magic mushrooms. This latest incident resolving relatively quickly, but leaving passengers in shock as flying continues to drive many to the breaking point.
I read a little bit about that incident. I think it was the guy, if he's telling the truth, and I think he did because his doctor got involved, his wife got involved. I think that's the first time he was shrooming. I think the very first time he got on mushrooms, he tried to take a plane down with 100 people on board. Man, oh man.
Dana Griffin joins us from Los Angeles. I think all of us would be at the breaking point if that happened to us. Dana, what else did you hear from that passenger you spoke to about what led up to the incident we saw on video?
Yeah, well, Tom, Erica Ramos says that before the plane even left the gate, that passenger was overly chatty at first, then started hyperventilating.
Oh, that's not good. The overly chatty passenger before you take off.
And hitting his head on the back of her seat. She says he lost consciousness at one point, but once he regained it, that's when he grabbed her hair. She says she never spoke to him before or after the incident. And according to Alaska Airlines, that flight was ultimately canceled because one flight attendant, not the one in that video, determined that they were unfit to continue.
You never want to be the guy on the plane where everybody's looking at you, whether it's a psychotic episode or you get, in an argument with one of the flight attendants, or you won't sit down when people tell you to sit down. There's always one guy that everybody's looking at. You never want to be that dude.
And that is a safety call flight attendants can make if they've experienced mental or physical trauma, because they've got to be fully present in order to do their jobs. And Tom, as you just saw, sometimes it requires them to get physical.
Yeah, we've seen a lot on airplanes. I don't know if we've ever seen anything like that. Okay, Dana Griffin, we thank you for that.
Yeah, that's a bad deal. All right, we got weather coming in. Big weather coming in a little bit tomorrow, mostly on Thursday. 3 inches or more of rain in Southern California. That's a lot for just a normal, February day. But because we have all these burn scars, it potentially could be a huge disaster. Those hillsides in the Eaton Fire and out in Malibu, they can still move. They can move. And they're worried about the hillside out in Malibu, just south of Dukes. They're worried about that hillside sliding. And if it does, it's going to take PCH with it. And PCH will be closed for months, if not longer. So we got to all be prepared for another potential disaster on Thursday. Hope it doesn't happen. Hope all the rain finds its way to the ocean. Everybody's cool. But you've got to be aware that Thursday is going to be radical in LA. Radical, especially in the burn scar areas.
You're listening to Tim Conway Jr. on demand from KFI AM 640.
Depending on how severe this rain is on Thursday, I can imagine, Stefouche, that we'll have somebody coming in perhaps overnight, perhaps extending the Mo Kelly show. I don't know. I'm not the program director. And I don't ever pretend to be one, unlike Bellio, who always pretends to be one when she's not.
What?
Bellio, I think you'd be a good program director.
Didn't you just take a shot at me?
I did, but you didn't hear
it. So now you're pretending that you were saying, I think you'd be a great program director.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
That's how I've operated my whole life. Take a shot at somebody. If they don't hear it, then it's like a bear essing in the woods. Isn't that how that saying goes?
Something like that.
If a bear essed in the woods, nobody was there, nobody would hear it?
Yeah.
Is that how that saying goes?
That's exactly how that goes.
Or is it a tree falling in the woods?
I think it's a tree.
Whatever. I don't know if you know this, Bellio, but from Denver to New York is getting killed and swamped with this winter storm.
I am putting some audio in about that for you right now.
It's crazy. Over 100 million people are going to be under this winter weather alert. 100 million people. It's crazy. Crozier, when you were living on the East Coast, you're an East Coast guy. when you were in Washington, D.C.? Yeah. Did you have radical storms where it shut the city down?
Oh, my God, yeah.
What years? Do you remember?
Ooh, early 80s is my biggest recollection of all that stuff. Early 80s, mid 80s.
I remember the winter of 1981-82. I was in Bowling Green, Ohio, and with the wind chill factor, it was 48 degrees below zero.
Yeah.
And I called my dad, and he was sitting near the pool, and it was 72 degrees in L.A. And I'm like, wow, it's 72 degrees there. It's minus 48 here. And, that when minus 48 is dangerous. You can die in that if you're exposed in just minutes. It doesn't take long.
I went from living in Miami, which is my earliest memories, to when I was 7. I moved to Kansas for a year with my dad, and I experienced winter and snow for the first time in my life. And it is if you're not used to it at all, like here, Southern California or Miami, it's a dramatic thing.
I was driving across country with my brother. We were driving from Los Angeles to Toronto. I was working up in Toronto at the time. And I had 7 days to get there. So we were just like moseying across the country, seeing how beautiful this country is. And then we got to the border. I think it was Colorado. Bellio, I'm not a big genius when it comes to geography in the Midwest. Does Colorado touch Kansas?
Yeah.
On the east side?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I was in that area. And I pulled over to a gas station, and I saw a huge storm to the west of us. I was going east, but I saw a big-ass storm, like tornadoes and dark clouds, rain, thunder. But it was considerably to the west of us. And I pulled over, and I got gas, and I talked to the guy who owned the gas station, or was running the gas station, and he said to me, he says, young men, to me and my brother, which way are you going? He said, we're going east. And he said, well, you better get in that car and start hightailing it. This storm is coming towards you. And I said, yeah, I can get my car and do, 70, 80 miles an hour and beat this storm. No problem. And he looks at the guy next to him who also worked there, and he mumbles to him, guess these fellas aren't from here. And I remember that. Guess these fellas aren't from here.
That is specifically a very Midwest thing, is being aware of the weather enough to know you need to get moving.
Right.
I was in Kansas and that happened to me. I was like, I saw 3 tornadoes in front of me when we were on the road.
But he was right, because that storm engulfed us. We were doing 70, 80 miles an hour, and we couldn't outrun that storm.
Yeah, the speed of those things in that Midwest and those flat plain areas. Yeah.
It was moving. I mean, that storm was probably 30 miles behind us, and it caught us.
Yeah.
It caught us. And that guy warned us. Well, fellas, you probably aren't from this area. And I thought, oh, what is country hick? I'm city folk. I know more than him. I'm from the city. I'm a city kid. Come on. These back-ass country fellas trying to warn us about crap that's never going to... Oh, my God, what is that? That's a storm coming up on me. There's a storm a-brewing. And that was a radical storm. But, you remember those storms by, the winter of such and such year, 82, 85, 93, 97. You remember the radical years when you had unbelievable storms. Well, this one's sort of shaping up to be a storm that people remember for a long time. This is going to affect 100 million people from Denver to New York City. So if you're flying at all, or your parents or grandparents live in that area, you may want to give them a jingle, because this is a pretty big one. Pretty big one. All right, we're live on KFI AM 640. We'll check in with Mo, who takes over at 7 p.m.
You're listening to Tim Conway Jr. on demand from KFI AM 640.
Rain on Thursday. Up to 3 or more inches in Southern California. So be aware of that. I don't like when people retire. I'm a big fan of local news. 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, and 11. And I don't like when people retired because I feel like I've known them for decades. And I don't like when they move on. I feel like they're letting me down personally. They're leaving me. Fritz Coleman, Fred Rogan from NBC, a couple of guys from CBS. What's his name? David Goldstein. He split. Colleen Williams is around. I hope she never retires. She's great. And I hope Mark Brown never quits. I like that dude. on ABC7. And David Ono. I like all these guys and gals. But this Ellen Leyva's let me down. She's leaving. I don't know what she's going to go do, but I have been watching her for, I don't know, at least 25 years, maybe 30.
She's one of my favorites.
She's great.
She's so good.
How long has she been there? 30 years?
I feel like David Ono said he's worked with her since either
1995.
Was it 95 or 96? Yeah.
Okay, so if it's 95, that's 30 years. I mean, 30 years of being in my life every day.
I know.
And now she's leaving. Let's find out what she has to say.
I started here at KBC in 1995 when my oldest daughter was 8 weeks old.
Wow.
And almost 30 years later, I can say that I've been truly blessed to work at this best station in the best city. But the best part has been the people I work with, and you, of course, the viewers at home. And this place has been my home away from home, especially brought to light with the love and compassion that I've received since being displaced from my Altadena home due to the Eaton fire. After a lot of soul searching, I know that I'm ready to move on and focus on my next great adventure in life. And while this isn't easy, it is something that I have been thinking about for a long time, and I'm very excited about what's next for me. But I'm going to be here a few more months. You're not getting rid of me just yet, David.
You have been my co-anchor since the fall of 1996.
Unbelievable.
Oh, you're right, Bellio. 1996. All right, 96.
Yeah, I mean, it's like time is just flown
They call
by.
you my TV husband.
But it's been a great partnership, and you've been not just a great partner, but a wonderful friend.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
But you're not leaving yet.
No, not yet, no.
We have some more things to do and talk about.
We certainly do. I started.
All right, Ellen Leyva leaving Channel 7. I don't know what she's going to do, but she'll be missed. She's a big part of that station, Bellio. Will she come in? Will she come in and tell us about how much she's going to miss doing the news and everything?
I think she would. Yeah.
You know what it makes sense that she's from Altadena. She has that sort of home vibe where there's nothing pretentious about that person.
She's very relatable.
Yeah.
There's something about her when she's on that's very comforting.
That's right. That's right. Something that I was never able to achieve, but she did it. She nailed it.
Yeah, but one day maybe you will.
Maybe, I don't know.
But
it seems like time's running out.
Yeah,
on that.
not yet.
Yeah, just don't have that knack yet.
No.
But I know that she's got a couple months left. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's what she was saying. So
okay, we'd love to have her on.
Yeah.
Would she come in or come on the phone and
I'll ask her. I will absolutely invite her to come in.
Ellen Leyva. Yeah, good people. I don't like when good people retire.
I don't like change.
I don't like change at all.
At all.
I really don't. And I think most of the people in this country don't like it. They like small change. They don't like big change. And I think it's a big change when she's splitting.
It does seem like a lot of people are retiring, and so there's like this big seismic shift happening.
That's right.
Don't like it.
I don't either. These are comfort people.
Mm-hmm.
These are people in the time when there's an earthquake or fire or flood or big
that
storm.
gets you through all of
That's
the
right.
tragedy.
And they're with you on TV telling you what's going on. And I think we need more of those people, not less. More. Okay. Let's we have time for this? I think we do.
I think you do.
The kids with these Crocs. The school is banning Crocs.
They're the perforated foam footwear with a ferocious name, Crocs. So popular, the company says about 150 million pairs are sold every year.
I'm going to be living in these.
But those Crocs are also at times a trip.
You good, bro?
Some schools now taking action, banning them outright. That's the case at one Alabama public high school where Principal Stoney Pritchett is taking enforcement seriously.
It actually is a safety hazard. Man, they can twist their knees, twist their ankles, things like that. So you won't have tennis shoes on all the time.
Here at Bessemer City High School, wearing these will land you here in-school suspension. Not exactly where you want to be landing, just for shoes.
Yeah, the Crocs are a hazard. I've seen that before. Bellio used to wear Crocs all the time. And, occasionally would do a cartwheel into a door or something. So I get that, just looking out for these kids.
The school's had Crocs folded into its no open toe policy.
No open toe policy. I like that. All right, we've got a big storm coming in. We can't stress that enough. There's going to be a lot of rain. It's going to start tomorrow, And then it's going to continue Thursday. Thursday's going to be the big, huge rain day that we've been talking about for the last 4 or 5 days. So it's the day after tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be light. Tomorrow will just be a drizzle, maybe a heavy downpour in a couple of areas, but not crazy. Thursday, however, you're going to know. You're going to know that it's here. It's going to be loud. It's going to be, you hear the LA River roar. You're going to see mudslides. You're going to see a lot of streets, especially in the valley flats, in the middle of the valley where it all congregates. You're going to see a lot of flooding in the valley streets. Victory, Van Owen, Balboa, Woodley. Those are the areas that usually it piles up around. And they may even close the Sepulveda Basin. When it gets this radical, they shut down Sepulveda Basin, Burbank, between Balboa and Sepulveda. And they'll shut off the Havenhurst entrance onto that as well. So Burbank will probably be closed at some point between Balboa and Sepulveda. And so that's going to create a lot of headaches for a lot of people. So if you don't have to go to work, maybe take a home day or stay at home, because traffic is going to be a nightmare. It's going to be, you're going to see a lot of accidents, you're going to see a lot of wipeouts, and a lot of mud flying around Los Angeles and Southern California. So we're going to be on tomorrow all day, warning you again, flash flood watch from 1 p.m. tomorrow until 4 a.m. on Friday. I'm sorry, 1 p.m. on Thursday. 1 p.m. Thursday, the day after tomorrow, 1 p.m. Thursday till 4 a.m. on Friday. That's going to be the heart of it. That's where we're going to see the most of it. 3 or more inches of rain for most of Southern California. So please take this warning seriously. Don't screw around with this. I know sometimes you screw around. Don't do it here. Don't do it. All right, Mo Kelly and his whole crew coming up next right here. Oh, I'm sorry, wait. The rain segment has been brought to you by Advanced Hair. One-day treatment, life-changing results. Make your appointment today at advancedhair.com. Mo Kelly up next on KFI AM 640.
Conway Show on demand on the iHeartRadio app. Now, you can always hear us live on KFI AM 640, 4 to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, and anytime on demand on the iHeartRadio app.